Welcome to List and Range lecture. So lists can contain a collection of values in square brackets. Each value can be a float, int, string, or variable. Each value in a list is called an element. A list can contain nested lists, tuples, sets, dictionaries, series, or data frames. And the interesting thing about lists is that they can be mutable. So the elements within a list are mutable, unlike the elements in a tuple or string which aren't mutable. So as an example of mutability within a list, let's say we have num, which is the variable name for our list here, which contains three elements, which are 10, 20, and 30. And let's say we want to index by 0 to grab the number 10 and change that to a string of hello. As you can see here, we've reassigned the element to be hello as opposed to 10. And then lastly, we have range, and range generates a specified list of numbers and is used frequently within loops. So let's start off with range. Let's say we do range 5. As you can see here, we have 0 and 5. So if we want to actually see what's going on, simply wrap list around it with parentheses, and we have 0 to 4. So notice that it doesn't include the number 5 here. So if we were to change this to say 10, it doesn't include 10, it only goes up to 9. If we wanted 10 as well, we put 11, but of course that doesn't include the number 11. So if we were to do, let's say 0, 11, and we wanted to go up by a step size of 2, this will give all the even numbers. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And if I were to change it just to the odd numbers, we'll start with 1 instead of 0. And then we have 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Okay, and let's say for instance I were to change this to 10, 110, and increment by 10. So starting at 10, we go up all the way to 100, and we are incrementing with a step size of 10. As you can see here, 10 all the way to 100 with a step size of 10 each time. Okay, so moving on from that, let's say we have numbers equals list, range, 10, 150, and then 10. And we'll do numbers, as you can see here, similar to what we had above, 10 all the way to 140. And if I were to do type numbers, we've got list. So this tells you what type of data we're dealing with or what type of variable. And if I were to do just simply empty list, we'll also get list as well. Okay, so just always remember that a list always contains square brackets. Okay, now let's say we were to do nested list equals sort of square brackets, and then we'll do a nested list of 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6, and then lastly 7, 8, 9. And I'm to do nested list. As you can see here, we have the free nested list. If I were to index, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and lastly 2. We get the final nested list. But let's say, for instance, I wanted to, instead of having just simply 3 elements, I wanted to say 1,000 or 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000. Well, typing that up can be extremely time-consuming and frankly totally impractical and impossible to do by any human. So one way to overcome this limitation is, let's say we were to do nested range, and we can do square brackets, of course, list, range. We'll do the exact same output here, so 1, 4, and then list, range, 4, 7, list, range, 7, 10. And we'll just put that down to save some space there. And then nested range. As you can see, we have the exact same output as we had with our previous example of nested list. Okay, and we can also just change this to say, for instance, 11. We'll do, actually we'll change that to 10, 21, and we'll do 20 and 31. So now you can see that we have a total of 10 elements within each of these nested lists, which of course would have been extremely time consuming to type up. Okay, so moving on from that, what we're going to do now is create a variable called basket. Basket1 equals 1, 2, 3, 3, and 4. And if I just move that aside there, okay. And let's say if I do basket1.tab, and as you can see here, what we have is all of the available methods and functions that we can apply to our variable called basket1. Okay, and what we're going to do is append .tab, and let's say I want to add in 55, and it will add on 55 to the end of our list. We'll do basket1. Here we have 55 added on. Okay, great. And if I were to do basket1.append again, let's say 80, do basket1, you can see 80 is added on. Let's say I want to remove this number 80. Well, what it does, if we use the pop method or function, is that this will remove the final elements from the list here. And you can see that the 80 is now removed. And if I were to do basket1.insert, this will allow me to put the number that we choose into a specific location within our list. So if I do 2, 100, and then I run this, you can see that the 100 is now put into a specific location as opposed to being put on the end of our list. And if I were to simply do basket1, 2, because this number here is the index, we're replacing the 100 into this list, we get 100. Okay, so the index number for 100 is 2. And let's say I wanted to, for instance, arrange the numbers from lowest to highest. Well, we do sort, we'll do basket1, get 1 to 100. And also note that if I were to do this, just comment this out here by control and /, you get function list.sort. So if you want this to operate, you have to make sure that you put the parentheses here. What we can also do, if I uncomment that, is reverse the arrangements of the numbers from, instead of it being lowest to highest, we can do highest to lowest. So you have highest to lowest here, 100 all the way to 1, but we'll stick to lowest to highest. Okay. And now moving on from that, we'll do basket2. And that's going to equal, let's say, 10, 20, 30, and then we'll do basket1. So it's a nested list. Basket2, and you can see here we have our nested list. If I were to do 0, we should get 10, 20, and if I do 2, we get 30, and if I do 3, we'll get the nested list of basket1. Another way of going about this is -1. So this is counting backwards. So when we're counting from left to right, it's 0, 1, 2, 3. But if we're counting from right to left, it's going to be -1, -2, -3, -4. So if I were to do -4, we get 10. And if I were to do more than that, we get an index error because there is no -5 here. Likewise, if I were to do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, this will also give me an error as well, because it's outside of the index range. Okay, so moving on from that, let's say I were to find a particular number. Let's say if I go back to here, and let's say I had, instead of it being a total of 6 elements within this nested list of basket1, what if there was 1,000,000? And what if I didn't know how many there were, but I wanted to find the final elements within my list? Well, what you can do is just simply -1, and that grabs the final element, in this case 100. Or I could just simply do 5, and there you have it, 100 as well. So let's say I do basket3 now, and we'll create a list of strings, in this case fruits, so apples, pears, berries, and we'll do bananas. Do basket3, There we go. And if I were to do basket 4 equals, in square brackets, basket 2 and basket 3, we'll do basket 4. As you can see here, we have multiple nested lists. In this case, we have basket 2 with basket 1 inside of it, and then we have baskets 3 inside of basket 4 as well. Okay, if we're to do 0, we get our nested list of basket 2 with the nested list of basket 1. If we do -1, if we do -1 again, we get 100. Okay, so moving on from that, let's say for instance I wanted to add certain values. So if I wanted to add 30 with 55 to make 85, what I can do is 0, and then do 2 here, and plus basket 4, 0, so I can grab the basket 2 nested list, and then I want to do, let's say -2. Just double check this, so 0, and then I want to do 3 here actually, so 0, 1, 2, 3, and then I want to do -2, and that should give me 85. 85. Okay, great. So moving on from that, let's say I were to do basket 5 equal A, then we do 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and we'll do 50, 50. And if I were to do basket 5 dot count, let's say A, we should get 3, so it tells me how many elements there are within the list that contain the A string. Of course, if I were to do, let's say B, because there's something inside of it, I get 0. And let's say I do 1, I get 4. If I do 3, I should get a total of 5. And if I were to do 50, I should get 2. Okay, so moving on from that, we'll do basket 6 now. And that's basket 6 is going to be equal to A, lowercase, B, C, D, and we'll do 10, 20, 30. We'll do some booleans of true and false. We'll just do another line here to save space. And we'll do -1, car, -2, bar, -3, star, and we'll do, let's say we print len, see how many elements we have here. There should be a total of 16. Excuse me, a total of 15 here. Okay, so let's say we were to do basket 6, and we wanted to get only the integer values, the positive integers, as opposed to the negatives. So it's 10, 20, and 30. Well, all we do is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I were to do 4 here, we get 10. And if I want to get the remainder here, then I simply do, it should be 7. There we go. So we have 10, 20, and 30. And if I were to, looks like I missed out on a number here actually. So let's just add 40. That's why I said 16. So excuse me there. And I do 8. There we go. So we have all of our integers. And let's say I were to do basket 6, 10, colon, 2. So what's happening here is that the 10th element is, in this case, it's going to be just check that, -1. And then it's grabbing each second element. So we start at 10, which is going to be the index of -1. And then we go up by 2 each time. Let's say I wanted to just get the car, bar, and star. Well, we know that -1 is 10 on the index. So if I were to do 11 instead, we should get car, bar, and star. Car, bar, and star. Okay. And if I were to do basket 6, let's say 15 minus colon minus 1, this is going to start with the final element. In this case, it's star, and we're counting backwards, so it's going to reverse the entire list. So as you can see, instead of it being A all the way to star, it's now star all the way down to A. And I can also grab the second element of each one. So instead it would be star, bar, car, false, 40, 20, D, and B. As you can see here, star, bar, car, false, 40, 20, D, and B. Okay. And let's say, for instance, I were to do basket 6, 15, colon, 10, colon, minus 2. And as you can see, what's happening is that it's reversed the output. So instead of it being car, bar, star, it's now star, bar, car. So we're starting with 15, and we're going all the way down to 10. In this case, it's going to be, of course, number 1, or minus 1, excuse me. And then we're going by star, bar, car. Okay, but if I were to change this to 9, excuse me, 8. Now there we have it, we have false. And if I were to do basket 6, 15, we get star. Okay, and lastly, let's say I were to do colon, so 10, colon, 15, 2, and I should have a square bracket here. So we're getting all the negative values there. Let's say I wanted to just show the mutability. So if I go to basket 1, and let's say I wanted to change 100 into, let's say, the string chips, and I do basket 1, we now have chips instead of 100. And this is what's called mutability, as I've shown at the beginning of the lecture. Okay, so that concludes my lecture on lists and range. I hope this has been insightful, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the Q&A. Thanks.